I wanted to start off by saying something about Chris, a little bit of prerogative, just to let people know that we're not just talking about a really great video producer. We're talking about somebody who's like up to her neck in these campaigns, and she's very knowledgeable. She may well know more about these legislature races that are key races than any other person on the planet. And she brings that expertise and brings it together with this medium that we're trying to help people win. So you wanted me to say something about the polling. Well, there are two things. One is the technical point that Chris makes, which is that the poll, as she's explained, the polling reveals things that are important in terms of reaching out to voters. So that's just to make that point. If you're asking what are the numbers showing, maybe that's what you're after. I would say that from what I've seen on the Senate side, the numbers are fairly positive. On the House side, there are some positive ones that I think are very encouraging. And they have shown us the pathway of where we need to go next. So overall, I'm encouraged by the polling. Is that?
That's great.
I'm not at liberty to give any numbers.
Yeah, I know that.
Tell you that. So if you now want me to proceed sort of to the where go next, is that what you'd like?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So again, I have some slides. So where to go from here? Just to point out that the need is actually huge. So we've got the legislature candidates, we got the statewide candidates. Something that we haven't really talked about, but I want to put on the table is that there's the potential for Chris to be working with the state Democratic Party for a kind of vote the slate. I don't think that's quite the right term, or maybe retain the slate, I think is the term, that actually would be videos to be shown in crucial districts and so forth, to try to support the idea of supporting the entire Democratic ticket. Again, that could be very positive for us for our marquee as well as down ballot races. There's also on the books or on the drawing board, I get more questions than anything else about the post office and about effective voting and all that sort of thing. And in North Carolina, it's pretty clear that the strategy is going to be to focus on those 16 days of early voting, maybe it's 17, between October 15th and October 31st. That's the time that low turnout voters are expressing preference for. There's also mail-in voting, but it's cumbersome. We have the prospect of promoting early voting, and that could do a lot, again, to help us bring home the winning strategy in North Carolina. So I want people to understand, though, that we have already been, and we will continue to be, I will call it ultra opportunistic. There's not going to be any fixed roadmap to this. We know the candidates, but we don't know exactly ones are going to need help and when. We're going to need to see more of the showing that's going to tell us the competitiveness of those races, how close they are, what issues are important, what are important. And we're going to also have to be opportunistic about the collaboration. How much are we going to pay for? How much are other people going to pay for? And so forth. And I mean, I think we got a really good track record so far of being opportunistic and making things work, but that's the way it's going to be going forward. So we're asking you, I guess, to trust us to some extent to be able to do this in a knowledgeable way. In addition, this question was asked in the chat. So far, we've raised about $189,000 for this and have spent about $95,000 on production and distribution. But if you notice, almost all of it's been production, and we really need to shift into high gear now with the distribution. So that's what we want to do next. And to give an idea roughly about how much this tends to cost, I understand for Chris to do a good 2-week distribution push for a House candidate costs about $2,500, and for a Senate candidate about $4,500. If you spread that out over the number of candidates we're talking about, you know, that's actually not going to take us all that far. And we also have the statewide and effective voting part that we'd like to do. So we will get significant cost sharing, but the fact is that we have a current goal of about $300,000, but the fact is that we really could use much more, I think very effectively, in this crucial state of North Carolina. And that's why we're talking to you, because the real reason, we're putting in the chat, you know, the way you can donate to the effort, but the real thing we're really after from this whole call is that we really need co-hosts. Getting co-hosts for these fundraisers is actually turning out to be the crucial factor for raising money in our fundraisers. And so we're on bended knee asking you folks to be co-hosts because we need you and your network. Over.